let's change my strings. Right now I have baritone strings on, but I do not want baritone strings anymore, so I'm changing them. In the process, I will show you all the modifications I've done to my guitar. This originally was a Yamaha Pacifica, believe it was a 112, but it came with, just standard Strat style body, 2 single coils, and then a humbucker. And I had that unmodified for I don't even know how long. It was my first guitar. I bought it for about $100-something bucks. When I was, I had to have been around like 10. But yeah, it served me well. I love messing around with baritone strings because it kind of gives me more creative capabilities. It fills the role of a mix between a bass and a guitar. Obviously, it's not nearly as low as a bass, but kind of fills out some of that low end. I have not yet used it on a recording, but I eventually would like to. And although I do love messing around with baritone strings, my guitar is not necessarily built for baritone strings, so a dedicated baritone guitar would definitely do the job a lot better. The main differences are scale length. The neck is longer, so you can kind of get more tuning stability. And also the nut. This nut is just a standard guitar nut, so the slots in the nut are way, way thinner than the actual baritone strings. So causes a bit of an issue, as you can imagine. But yeah, this guitar, I decided to do like a green kind of burst on the front and back. The pick guard is sheet metal that I cut myself. It was a huge pain in the butt. And I did all of the wiring myself. That was also a huge pain in the butt. I actually recently just did this back plate. You can tell it's not nearly as weathered or rusted as the front pick guard. But yeah, I previously hadn't been using a back plate just because I was like, oh, it just gets in the way. But I found the springs for the tremolo action kind of catching on my clothes and my belt and stuff if I had it up high. So I decided to go with it. Come on. You can do it. I really should have cut this slot wider. There we go. But yeah, now that these strings are off, I will go ahead and kind of take some of this off and run you through what I've done on the inside. So I swapped out the 2 pickups for Jaguar pickups. I liked the tone of them, and I think some part of me was kind of just like, oh, if I get Jaguar pickups, I'll sound like Kurt Cobain, because he played the Jaguar, which is definitely not true. But, that wasn't the entire reason. They also sound cool, and they look really cool. If anybody knows of a string recycling program, I would love to hear about it, because I'm not even sure if these are able to be put in the regular recycling bin, but I figure them getting taken out of recycling is better than me just throwing them in the landfill from the beginning. But if anybody knows of one, I would love to hear about it, especially if it's in the St. Louis area. So, under this pick guard, let me get this off. Fucking forearm workout. Excuse me, princess. Okay, so under the pickguard is very jank, but starting off on top, we have two lovely chicken head knobs. This one is tone, this one is volume. Originally, the knobs would have been here, and the blade selector was like right here, but I noticed whenever I was playing, I kept on slapping the blade selector, so that's why I decided to add this extra bump out and move everything back. These two are DP, DT, so dual post, dual throw slide selector switches, kind of like what they have in a Jaguar. Just, you know, down is on, up is off. So for each pickup, pulling this thing off is kind of a pain in the butt, but you shall soon see my jank wiring. Et voila. So we have our lovely pickup wiring going down. You can see the dual post, dual throw slide selector switches. So this side, which is the up side, is just going straight to ground. This side is the live side. So you just kind of connect the pickups to the middle post, and then on the live side, you run that to your potentiometers. And I don't know if you can see it all the way up here, but I have two potentiometers wired in your traditional volume and tone wiring. I'm not that great at soldering. It looks like this soldering joint has gone bad, but that's a job for another day. And then this goes to ground, this goes to out. So yeah, it's simple and kind of jank, but it gets the job done, and I did it myself, so I'm proud. Putting that back on is a bit of a pain, even more of a pain than taking it off, because these pickups really like to slide around. Also, I didn't cut this notch out right, so there we go. Also, you may notice my saddles are kind of mismatched. This saddle is a roller saddle. There was a period of time where I experimented with roller saddles. I found that I didn't really like my results, but by the time I switched them back, I had lost one of the original saddles. So I decided to leave this saddle on the G-string, because the G-string is the most friction of all of my strings, so it kind of reduces some of the rubbing, makes it a little bit more stable. But, you know, that's just speculation. One of these days, I am going to shield the cavities of my guitar, because I have noticed some excess 60-cycle hum, which is kind of annoying, kind of very annoying, especially when I have any kind of distortion on. The sheet metal pickguard simultaneously acts like a shield if you ground it properly, but if you don't, it also acts like a massive antenna, so it picks up a whole bunch of waves and spreads them out, and the resonance kind of amplifies everything, and then it gets picked up by the pickups. So, pros and cons. I do need to do a better job of grounding that out, but that will be a lot easier when I have shielding, because there will be an actual physical connection between the two. So, you know, projects for the future. The work of modification is never done. But yeah, I did all of this work by hand myself. It took me so insanely long and so much money, but not nearly as much money as it would have if I had a shop do it. I don't even know any shop that would do this. But yeah, the neck was another thing. I finished the neck myself, but I do not have the tools nor the experience to do the frets without screwing them up. So I was able to get those done at David's Guitar Loft in St. Louis. They are a wonderful shop. I pulled out all of the frets myself, so they gave me a tiny bit of a discount, but that was, you know, still quite expensive for a full refret, but they did a very good job on it, and I have absolutely no complaints. No fret buzz. Every fret is leveled and crowned properly, and they put in some jumbo stainless steel frets on there, so we got plenty of time of playing left. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it definitely needed a refret after that many years. Yeah, Jaguar pickups aren't really meant to be affixed to a guitar like this, so it's always kind of a bit jank, but luckily the max height for the pickup works out really well for my strings, even if I'm using like really thick ones. I have noticed that the neck pickup has a much higher output than the bridge. I'm not sure if that's because of the string height or just the pickups being kind of imbalanced, but either way, I think it works really well for my type of music, so I'm not really complaining. And now, putting on new strings. Just started using these D'Addario NYXL strings in 10 through 46. I like fairly light string gauges. I like to be able to bend stuff pretty easily. And the NYXL stuff lasts a very long time, so I always forget which strings go where, so these little guides are very helpful. Alright. And up on top on the headstock I have wonderful Fender locking tuners. They are a huge time saver. No longer do you have to worry about properly winding your strings. You kind of just put them through, twist them up, and then snip them off, tune them up. It's amazing. Speaking of snipping them off, I got so many hate comments. I wouldn't say hate comments, most of them were well-meaning, but so many comments on some of my YouTube videos when I was first testing out and recording some of the stuff I was messing around with baritone strings. I got so many comments about the string ends that I had. They were all like, "Oh, clip your damn strings. Oh, it's only a hazard. It doesn't actually like do anything for you." And I'm like, I know. I was just too lazy. So, in this video, I will be trimming my string ends. Hopefully that'll make you all happy. Okay. Now, the most important part, according to YouTube comment experts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Voila. Now, hopefully, all of my comments will be incredibly positive and nobody will be bitching at me about my guitar playing and how my string ends are annoying. You know, I told my my family about that and they were like, "Yeah, you should just make your string ends longer." And I kind of considered it, like, you know, just tack some extra strings on there so it's like a massive whip swinging around on the end of my guitar. But, you know, I figured I'd play nice. Alright, stealing my tuner from my other acoustic guitar. Let's get this baby up to pitch. Perfect. Give these babies a stretch. Cool, cool. And that is me restringing and running through my guitar. All good. See ya.